Hi, everybody. Welcome to Studio 801's Music Matters. I'm your host, Harry. Today, we have with us Damian Hazard and Sky. Uh, so thanks for being with us today, guys. Appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for extending the invite.
Yeah, you bet. So, um, is Damian Hazard your stage name, or is that your real name?
It's a combination. Damian is my
Okay,
government name.
gotcha.
Hazard, it's just a name that I thought would be cool for a last name.
Okay, why? What's special about Hazard? Why?
So my actual last name is Brown, and it's different from my mom's.
Okay.
My mom's last name, it's I forget. I think it's Swiss. It's Holderman, but the spelling is different. And I thought, since I can't have, the name be that and it start with an H, I was like, what's a cool name that I could use starts with an H? Use it as like, my artist name.
Gotcha.
And kind of just scrolled through a list and was like, Hazard's cool.
Mm-hmm. That's unique.
Yeah, initially it was like spelled with two Z's, like the Dukes of Hazard.
Right.
And I'm like, let me drop one of those, just,
Yeah, that's why I asked you the spelling and all that. But it's, I usually ask bands and artists and all that kind of the name because there's usually some sort of an origin story. So it sounds like a little bit of an homage to your mom.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so that's cool. So tell me a little bit about your music and your style, and like how would you describe yourself to somebody who doesn't know, who's never heard of you? Because I know you probably have a few people that are watching. There might be some new people out there. How would you tell them that your music is?
I like to use the blanket term alternative, even though like that could be almost anything. I blend a bunch of different genres into, just what I am, pull from different avenues of music. Like, I like to say in a like more niche term, it's like if emo rap and like hyperpop, that sort of direction got to like live in its like actual evolution.
If they had a baby,
yeah.
Emo pop and
hyperpop, yeah.
Hyperpop, okay. If they had a baby. All right. So, who are some artists that kind of fit in that overall genre?
So, hyperpop specifically, you can think of like Glaive, Eric Doa, 100 Gex, things along those lines. And then for emo rap, more so like the Lil Peeps, Juice WRLDs, XXXTentacion's. I noticed that like around that time where that genre in specific was like at its peak around like 2017, 18, a lot of those, like those three artists in particular, and especially Lil Peep, who is huge inspiration to me, were kind of moving in a more electronic kind of direction. And unfortunately, all three of them, passed way too early. And I like to think that, I won't say I'm carrying the flag, but I like to think that the stuff I make is
in the style of?
Is the direction that was eventually going to move.
Okay, that's cool. Well, I noticed there's a lot of new artists that that blend together what I would consider more EDM style with more traditional blues, rock style. So there's I've seen that a little bit more. It shows up in things that would be considered more hard rock and things that would be considered more pop. Like Emmy Grace is amazing guitarist. I'm a big fan. Been watching her, but she's got a lot of like dance music influenced. So she's got this really crazy kind of a dance beat to it. Like I know some of the stuff that you like to listen to. Bad Omens and some of the newer, more modern Sleep Token and some of those bands have kind of more of this airy vibe to them, even though they're heavier they have kind of heavier beats to them.
Well, so kind of what I've seen, and out of those, I only really listen to one of them, Beartooth. I don't really listen to Sleep Token or Bad Omens that much, but they're all kind of in the same area. I've noticed two kind of trends on either side of the spectrum. I've noticed that metal has tended to lean more towards production, and having more of a pop feel. Playing around with like stuff like auto tune and a lot of music having like your normal trap beats, your 808s, whatever. And stuff that's not always they're not always playing guitar. On the other side of it, I've noticed that more pop and especially like rap and hip hop, um, they've started to get heavier. They're starting to play around with more distorted synths that not quite sound like guitar but kind of almost emulate what a distorted guitar will sound like, and they're starting to mess around with more scream type of vocals. So it's interesting to see it both sides of the spectrum kind of almost converging into the same place. And I think in general, I've just kind of seen like a lot of music get heavier over the years. So
Yeah.
So your style of music is vocal forward, and you've got a lot of you have tracks that you've built and created and whatnot. Tell me a little bit about because you're a little different style than many of the different artists that we've had in here, but not totally foreign to us either, because we've also worked with a lot of artists that do backtracks and beats and stuff like that. We even talked about the kind of the hazards, not a pun on your name, but the hazards of buying beats versus making beats, and what music you use in the background. So tell me a little bit about your journey, because that's a fascinating, different part of the space than a lot of other musicians that we have in here. So
Yeah.
I'm sure people would kind of be interested to find out, like, what's it like to do it as a vocalist.
Sure. I was telling Blake a little bit earlier. I kind of think, at least from my experience, that it's a very different route that most people that like I've at least heard from take. Most people start as like bedroom producers and then eventually start like laying vocals onto their own stuff. I did it completely backwards. I was just recording vocals over beats that I found on YouTube, people that like I would meet online on different like music forums, like on Reddit, SoundCloud when it was still really popular. I had a bunch of friends in school, like in person, that would make beats, and I would just rap over them at the time because that was just kind of the popular thing to do. And after a while, my sound got to a point where I wasn't finding what I was looking for in specific on YouTube anymore. And I realized this is probably the turning point where I stay, finding beats on YouTube forever, or I evolve as a person and an artist and learn how to do it myself. So started doing that at least more often. I would, on and off from like when I was 16 to like 18, 19, whatever. But I started really trying to get better at it. And when I say better, the bar is on the floor. It was rough. And I didn't get confident enough to like post my own music with my own instrumentals on it until maybe 2-3 years ago.
So up until that point, and you've had stuff that's been released for longer though.
Yeah.
So up until that point, you were you had beats that you hadn't created that were some you had licensed or
Yeah.
had some sort of a somebody that made something for you or whatever it was, the particular situation. Then you started doing your own. So how do you make a beat?
So initially, I asked the same question. I was very fortunate that one of my best friends from high school, we kind of fell off because he had moved. I'm sure he's watching. Hi, Will. he is honestly the most creative and like most talented person I know, and he'll never. He'd probably look at me and like with a stank eye to just me saying that, but it's true. He's incredibly talented, and he's been producing way longer than I have, and I was fortunate enough to have him like teach me everything I thought I knew. He was patient enough to just kind of sit there and take me from where I thought I was, which was, I thought I was here. I was really here. And elevate me to the point where I was not awful.
Right,
So,
but like, what do you do when you want to make a beat? How do you do it? What tools do you use? What's your process?
so initially my process was literally just do exactly what he does, right? Usually start with some sort of like piano or synth thing, build some chords, get an idea going, maybe build a lead melody on top of it, get some drums going, just loop it. And
you're doing this in FL Studio, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
And hopefully the ball gets rolling eventually, and more often than not, it would. There was a good period where we were just using like open source guitar from like Splice or like Looperman, just different producer packs to kind of get the ball rolling. And then we'd take those out, switch it in with something that we made, try and get it to like, fit. That for the longest time, and even like still a little bit, like you can see the remnants of that old line of thinking in the music now, but that was the initial process that really would get the ball rolling.
And so what do you do different today?
Nowadays, it's, like I said, it's pretty similar, at least when it comes to getting the ideas flowing. Like I said, get some chords going, but more often than not, whenever I sit down to write a song, once again, I personally think it's backwards. To preface, I've written poetry since I was little.
Okay.
And it was something that always just came natural to me, something that I would use to express myself. And that is what I do before I like actually start working on a beat or an instrumental. Is like more often than not, I'll have lyrics ready or like a feeling or an idea, and I just gotta find a way to translate that onto sound.
For your style of music, I would think that seems to make more sense to me, because the words have their own rhythm, and it seems that if you're writing the words first, that the rhythm would follow, instead of trying to force words into a rhythm. I know with certain bands, it's some bands write lyrics first and then music, and some write music first, or that they come up with a great riff or whatever it is, and then it all fits together for like the riff sets the mood, and then the lyrics fit that mood or whatever it is. So it's just interesting to hear it's a little different approach or different style than a lot of bands that have that are full bands, instead of just like vocal and beats. But it's still a process. It's still a creative musical process to kind of pull all this stuff together. So how did you get? You said you started off with poetry, and how did you evolve that into beats, or when did that happen for you?
So the very beginning was when I was still in high school. I was maybe 15 years old. Everybody was, kind of just like rapping over beats. I was when I was a freshman.
Do you have like after school rap off?
Nothing like that. It was like it was just the guys, just freestyling in the locker room, or something along those lines. But there were a couple that would just like actually post music, and like I say that loosely because it was just them like freestyling whatever, auto-tune cranked all the way up.
Okay.
And like not even in the same key, just it's there. And I was like, you know what? Like I think I could actually do this. And I had a friend, more like he was like an older brother figure. He stayed right down the street from me, and he would go to the park that I stayed not too far from to go and play basketball. I'd see him there often. We ended up like getting pretty close. Like I said, he was basically like an older brother to me, and he was the one that introduced me into like actually recording music. He had a little setup in his room where it wasn't treated the best, but like it was nice, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like he kind of for the most part knew what he was doing. And I was like, just one day randomly, what do you think? Like, you think I could give it a try? And he was like, dude, of course, yeah. You got any ideas? And I'm like, I don't know. Let me go find a beat on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people start there, and there's good beats that are out there. And it's good for creatively packaging some ideas together. The downside of it is you don't necessarily own it, and other people may be using the same one.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always kind of like that's always a thing that can trip people up, and I've seen it happen before. But you've got your own stuff that you're making now, so that's really cool. That's exciting. What's practice like for you? Because I know with bands, it's like getting band practice together, getting everybody together. What's practice like for you?
So, for me, it's funny. Have you ever seen Carpool Karaoke?
Yes.
It's a lot like that. Whenever we're just driving somewhere, I'll just put my own stuff on and just practice that way. Just sing along to the music, and she'll tell me if I sound off or pitchy. She will not pull any punches. She is my biggest supporter and my biggest critic. So
Yeah.
And you're creative director, as I understand it.
Yes.
Yeah. So Sky, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do for the team here?
Well, for the most part, it started with me just being like, oh, you want a small visual for a video? Cool, I can try and do it. And the thing is, we don't use any like high tech, like high dollar stuff. We literally just pull out our phones, right? And I realized I'm pretty, I guess, not awful at it. I've come to learn that I enjoy it. And it's so much more than just coming up with like ideas for shots or places to go to get like the perfect, music video for the vibe to his music video, or like whatever props to like throw in there, whatever. There's been several times where we've had to be in Will's garage making up t-shirts with our hot, press or whatever, making up t-shirts and our candy bracelets for shows. And it's just
Those the bracelets?
yes.
Okay.
He spends a lot of time. We both spend time. Me being super ADHD, I struggle to thread it. So really the bracelets are all him. I'll give him his credit there. But for the most part, I just try and come up with the ideas behind the scenes of ideas for different small things. Like I said, either shows or just different concepts or outfit ideas or whatever the case may be. Like he said, I mean, him and we've been together since high school, so I've been there through it all, from us, making the little setup in the living room to being a bigger part of the dining room now, and us just still trying to, make it work. We have our foam on our, walls as y'all do, and we try and visually make it, nice, because creativity is very important at the end of the day, and as long as you're able to represent that in what you put out, you can inspire others. And so I think that's what we're really just trying to do. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your artwork. I heard that you do artwork too.
Yeah. I'm not a great artist, I guess. No.
When it comes to artwork for her, it's more so like photography.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
And just like capturing stills.
Mm-hmm.
And I also dabble in poetry, and I can't do too much. He's more on the clothing end. He's the one that can sew and patch stuff up, and he's wanting to eventually further our brand and maybe throw in some like, you know, pants and jackets, and we thrift a lot of our own stuff and make it like our own and actually put in all the hard work for it.
So you say you can sew, yet
Yeah.
I can't help but
The
notice
pants.
that your pants look a little bit the opposite of sewn.
Man, this Texas heat, let me tell you. It's,
Yeah, man, this is one day in Texas weather.
Yeah, but overall, I mean,
It's funny you mentioned. I was considering wearing either these or my like my crust pants, and I went with these because it's so hot out today.
I don't blame you.
The crust pants, like patches sewn all over, got rips.
yeah,
Like, you know, for aesthetics.
Sure.
yeah.
You know,
But those ones are like that. I was gonna wear them, but it's like 100 and something out right
Yeah,
now. It's
it's so bad.
disgusting.
it's kind of like one of those, you know, just ironic things. We had a kind of a similar moment, me and my dad, the other day. So, you know, obviously, you know, you could sew, but you're wearing ripped jeans.
Right.
So me and my dad, we were, you know, doing some shopping for, was it my brother's birthday, right? And we were at the liquor store, right? Now, my dad, he's been sober for about a year and a half, but, you know, he was pushing the cart full of liquor, and then, you know, they're handing out samples, and,
The vodka lady's like, here's this premium brand of vodka. Would you like to try a sample?
Right. And you said no.
And I'm like, actually, I don't drink.
Yeah.
you said, believe it or not, I don't drink.
Yeah. I don't really drink either, so it's okay. When people look at us like, what? It's like, it's okay, man. I'll live without it, you know? Yeah.
It's definitely kind of like, it's a little bit more common amongst like Gen Z, because I'm sure you've seen all the stats that Gen Z is drinking a lot less than previous generations, and
Yeah, and I'm sure she can speak on it because she used to be a bartender,
Yeah.
and I would come see her every now and again, just get something simple, you know, like a Long Island, just hang out for a little bit. But all of her customers would be like minimum like 35 and higher. So
Yeah.
rarely
did I see anybody even close to my age.
sure.
Yeah.
I think a good amount of that has to do with just like our generation has so many different options for entertainment, right? Older
Right.
generations go to the bar, was your entertainment, but also a little bit like darker would be that our generation has had the destigmatization of being able to, you know, take care of your mental health, and like, you
Yeah.
know, a lot of you know, older cats, like that's how they dealt with it, was the bottle, and also just cost. It's expensive.
Oh, it's
and,
Yeah.
so expensive.
There's different choices today.
yeah.
That's the other thing, because you've got you have CBD and THC, and it's legal in some places,
Yeah.
and it's a different
Oh sure, yeah.
it's a different thing than like when I grew up. It was just, you know, I mean, yes, some of the other stuff was available, but you had alcohol, and that was the thing.
Yeah.
And there's some artisan crafts style to cocktail making and whatnot,
For sure.
which is nice. I mean, but it's also really expensive, and
Oh, it is.
you know.
That's why, like, once he said, so I don't drink too much, but he likes to partake. So since I was a previous bartender, we'll go to, say, like, Goodies, we'll buy some stuff. And then when he's feeling like he wants a drink, I'll just make him up, like, a mixed drink. And
Right.
it's just nice because then we don't have to go out and spend however much for this one alcoholic beverage when we can have the same alcoholic beverage times 3 at home for, like, the same price, if not less, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the craft cocktails are kind of ridiculous. But I mean, they use specialty liqueurs, and they have like
Right.
edible flowers, or you
Yeah,
know,
the
smoked
gold
something,
and-
or
yeah.
the gold flake or whatever, and they're
It's like the ice from, like, the, like,
yeah
glaciers
from a
of
from a
somewhere.
glacier, from a core sample from 100,000 years ago, a glacier in this part of the world, and it's $1,000, you
Yeah.
know, something, ice for yeah, just crazy stuff like that. But
For
yeah,
sure.
there's different options for that kind of
Yeah.
for entertainment these days, if you will, or recreation these days. And but yeah,
That's very
Blake, you're
true.
right. That's I've noticed that too. It's a different crowd a little
Sure.
bit.
So I kind of have a question, looping back around to music. Uh, I kind of want to know, like, what have you learned about the music industry thus far? Different things that you've seen, different trends that you've seen, and trying to navigate the complicated reality that is the music business.
That's a great question. Um, the local scene in Dallas, um, that's one thing that I've learned. I'm extremely lucky to be born where I am. Dallas is a great hub for art, but with that means that there's going to be a lot of artists competing for space. You know what I mean? So it can be easy to get your name, your face, your art in front of people, but the guy next to you and the guy next to him and the band next to them and then that group over there, they're all trying to do the same thing and everyone's competing for attention. So me, I've learned that in a way you have to be able to stand out amongst a crowd even if the crowd looks exactly like you. And with my regular day job, I like to tell people, yeah, I'm a personality hire. Like I'm not here because I'm great at what I do. I'm here because everybody likes me.
Even though he is.
And I try to be that way as well with just how I go about my day. I try to leave an impression. I try to be positive everywhere I go. I try to I want everybody I meet to remember me in a positive light, because when you leave a positive mark on somebody, you in a sense kind of get to live forever in that person's mind, even if they forget about you, or the memory starts to fade. They'll never remember, or they'll never forget how they felt with their interaction with you. So that's kind of just something I aim to do everywhere all the time.
Yeah. And him just being so charismatic makes it easier for people to be like, hey man, I love your hair, gnarly tattoos. And then they'll be like, what do you do? You're just such a cool looking guy. Like, no way you just do like a regular Joe Schmo job. And he's like, well, yeah, like obviously everybody who's like creative has to have like a regular type of like income job. But he's like, well, on the other hand, like I'm really talented in all these other fields. I can sing, I produce, I can make beats. Like, he does it all. And that kind of just having charisma is a big part of it. You can have the knowledge and whatever, but if you don't have the personality to back it up, no one's gonna want to be like drawn into it. Yeah.
No, that's definitely a thing. We were um, we do live sound for bands, and we were with we were doing sound for one of the bands that we do that for last night, and their front man is like, he's such a cut up. He's got a huge personality, and he's very engaging, and he's very successful because of that type of thing. You can tell, like, he captivates people when he comes into the room, because it's just got that big personality.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
it's a great thing. It's I don't know if you call it a gift, a skill, or whatever.
Curse.
Yeah. Oh, sometimes it's a curse. Yeah.
But yeah, it's but definitely it's attracting people towards what it is that you're doing, whatever that happens to be. In this case, it's your music. So that's and speaking of your music, and we were listening to some of your music before, and so you've got like 1,500 monthly listeners on Spotify, which is great. Have you noticed that change over time as you've released things, or where did you start out, and how did you get to that number? Because that's a great number for a lot of bands who are just starting out. It's less than 50. For bands that have been working pretty hard at it, maybe they've got a couple of hundred or a few hundred or whatever, whatever it is. So what were some of your milestones along the way, and how did you find success?
So a lot of it, and I mean a lot of it, was trial and error. My first song ever released was August 3rd of 2018. and it's just been a spiral from there. Initially, I realized like local success was that same friend I was talking about. We found a beat, wrote and recorded a song in a night, and on the very next day, it was uploaded to Spotify, or not Spotify, SoundCloud, and kind of just like word of mouthed its way around like the school, and like before I knew it, it was at like a couple hundred plays, and I'm like, this is cool. You know, that was like the pinnacle of everything. Like, I'm famous at high school. I got 200 plays on my song. But just further down the line, there were periods where there was just like, you know, nothing, no noise at all. Like, just I was literally posting into the ether. And there's social media and like music marketing gurus on like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, that'll give you like half truths to like, you know, try and like sell their course a little bit. And I thankfully never bought any of those courses, but the half truths I did kind of listen, kind of tried to, you know, apply some of the things that those people would say to my music. And the first time that I did that was the second most recent at-length project that I released, Melancholic Euphoria. That's the one that she directed all the visuals for. There's a full-length movie. It's like 20 or so, maybe 30 minutes on YouTube. But that was the first thing that I saw where I was like, I'm going to take what they're saying and try and like apply it here. And that album is kind of a concept album, and all the visuals, you know, tie together. There's one cohesive story that tells everything, and that was the first time that I saw actual success on Spotify. After that had been released, maybe a couple months, I had just like skyrocketed in monthlies, and I had went from maybe like 400 or 500 monthlies. This is shortly before or shortly after the first live performance I ever did. Maybe like 500 monthlies, released the album, just skyrockets to like 4K, 5K, and it's kind of been steady between that and where I'm at now. So it's, like I said, a lot of trial and error, a lot of messing up horrifically and then bouncing back. My most recent project is the one that has it's had the biggest reach overall. The album Melancholic Euphoria, it helped show the discography I already had to a bunch of people. The algorithm picked it up and just started showing a bunch of tracks to a bunch of like different people in different countries. This album in particular came out about a month ago and is currently sitting at like 20,000 streams. And that was the official release, but I had waterfalled it from I think March.
Yeah.
Until release day, just dropping a single from the album every 2 weeks.
Right.
Just really try and like feed the algorithm, get it going. And by the time the rest of the album came out, it was already close to like maybe 4,000, 5,000 streams just after the 6 weeks of the 3-song rollout and then releasing the rest of it. So the algorithm just picked up the rest of it immediately, and it's still just like, it's still just going and going to this day. And then my most recent song kind of got blessed by the algorithm too, so hopefully it, like I said, just keeps going, and...
Well, so we talked earlier about like friends and family and your circle of support and whatnot, because for a lot of original artists, it is friends and family initially. Sounds like you had that the great high school friend collective to help kind of boost you to start. When you look at your stats today, where are people listening from?
So right now in the U.S. specifically, I'm paraphrasing because I don't know the exact figures, but there's a very dense population of people in the Texas area, like just overall as a state.
Which makes sense.
So,
You're here, so
New York, California, and then Oregon as well are the next biggest ones. But
you've got an Oregon look. I could see you
Right.
being a local hero there.
country-wise, though, if memory serves correctly, Indonesia and I think South Korea are doing pretty well too. Those are like the two countries behind the United States, and those are like pretty. If I'm not mistaken, I think Japan as well, but I think like Japan and South Korea are probably like tied.
Okay.
So
we got like a K-pop, J-pop connection.
that would be really cool. That'd be
Let me say something. When he works out, he's like listening to like the most like you wouldn't think like you would think that he's listening to like screamo or whatever. More than half the time I am, and then I'm like, "What you listening to, babe?" And then I'll like listen to it, and he's like listening to like an anime like intro, and it's like the most like upbeat stuff, and I'm just like, this is what's getting going. He's like, yeah, and I'm just like, all right then. So that it's kind of it works
Well, you
out.
got the you said the screamo. You've got the Def Leppard shirt on. He's got anime. We have a friend who plays anime metal
Really?
guitar.
Oh,
Yes,
that's
David
dope.
Saborio. He
Oreo?
played in one of our festivals previously.
Oh, that's so cool.
He does anime convention.
I may need his socials after
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you definitely need to go check him out.
He sounds
He's
great.
pretty badass.
Wow,
Yeah.
love that.
But yeah, that'd be really cool as a scene to break into. I'm actually dropping a song. I think it's this Friday. The days blur together now. But it was initially inspired by Crossing Field by Lisa. It's an anime intro that I hit a PR to, and I had built similar chords to it, just not in the same key, just try and get a similar vibe going. And yeah, that's something that I always thought would be cool. A couple years ago, I made a music video to a hyperpop song of mine called Key to Your Heart, which is very heavily inspired by like video games, and especially the video game Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
And the music video itself is basically like an anime fight scene with a friend of mine.
Okay.
And this next song that I'm releasing, it's called Protostar, which is, meant to kind of be a anime intro.
Yeah.
I even went so far as to commission a Japanese vocalist to do a cover of it, which will probably be releasing about a month or so after
Oh,
the
cool.
initial release.
Cool.
I didn't record Key to Your Heart, just to let everyone know.
But you were the creative director behind it.
Yeah, he had, because it was when he first got into it, before I had realized my potential, so he had hired someone with a drone to shoot that music video, and it came out really good. He did a good job, but that one wasn't me, but everything else, that was me.
Including the music video for Protostar, which should be coming out, like I said, soon.
Yeah.
Okay. So, is that one of the songs that you're going to sing?
It
first?
is, yeah.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So we're going to.
First preview here at Studio 801.
All right. Awesome. We're going to do performance here in a few minutes. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, Damian Hazard, Damian Hazard 1Z. I'm not hard to find. I'm the guy with the pink hair.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Excellent. Well, thanks for being here with us today. Anyone who's watching live, Damian's going to be playing at the Rock in the Summer Music Festival, July 26th, the Sunday. Don't know the time yet, but we'll get that figured out here pretty soon. So please Stay tuned. We'll be back here in a little bit. We're gonna do. We're gonna kind of re-kit things up here and do performance and come out, get tickets, come see Damian perform live on July 26th. Thanks for being here with us, guys.
Of course,
Appreciate
it's
it.
been my pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
All right.